Last year, I ranked the top 40 powerful items in Valheim, but my list has changed significantly and been extended by 5, with both me getting wiser and brand new game-changing items being added. Stay tuned and ensure you're using the most powerful items Valheim has to offer. Number 45 is a combo in the game's new scythe in combination of Harvest Tunic or Dress with the Straw Hat. If you did not know, the game has a new farming skill that both increases the radius of crops farmed with the scythe, but also your chance of bonus yield when farming. By wearing both the tunic and hat, you will gain a set bonus of plus 25 to this skill, leading to countless bonus crops. Next is the shield generator, which works wonders blocking fireballs in the Ashlands, but makes this list for being the first item to ever protect you from the wet debuff. Set this up around your base to avoid the rain, shining particularly in the swamps where the sun never shines. The Abyssal Harpoon, while not functioning as a weapon, has many uses, making it one of the game's most powerful, primarily for dragging Serpent to shore, but also handy at herding wild creatures for taming. The first of many meads in this video and the first new from the Bog Witch update is the Lightfoot mead. Since October 2024, the 20% jump height increase has been removed from the Feather Cape and reallocated to the mead, making for a handy tool in any player's arsenal, not to mention the reduction in stamina cost of jumping, especially when in the Mistlands. That said, the nerf to the cape certainly affected its placement compared to last year's, as you will soon see. Vader's Trophy comes next and is great for hauling serious weight, providing the biggest buff to carrying capacity of any item, and any one that provides movement speed is excellent in my book. The only thing keeping it lower on the list is its long cooldown, like for all the Forsaken powers. The Wisp Light breaks into the 30s, being a must equip for any journey into the Mistlands, making the biome damn near impossible without it. The first of a couple of staffs on this list is the Troll Staff, which carves out a spot, not for its offensive threat, but rather for its ability to instantly destroy massive resource nodes with the falling flaming behemoth. The Tombstone, or rather, the buff you receive following interacting with it, the Corpse Run, is incredibly powerful, effectively functioning as a combination of both Bowmass's and Eikthyre's Forsaken powers, plus the Messenger Belt, all in one buff. The only downside, of course, is that it's limited, lasting for a mere 50 seconds. Plus, did you know that when you combine this with Ike's power, you eliminate your stamina bar for infinite speed? Pretty sweet. The Ashen Cape, being the first cape on this list, stands out, being the only one yet to offer more than one armor with a whopping 12 at base level. Even as I'm writing this, I'm thinking I may be rating this one too low. Two-handed hammers, and particularly the Stag Breaker, stand out for their AoE dealing effects, permitting a wise player to cheese all kinds of different encounters, including raids, dungeons, and even bosses. Speaking of bosses, today's video supporter has endless of those to overcome, and some sweet prizes for their 6th birthday. The Raid Studio team have lost their minds and are now gifting all new users with a huge anniversary starter pack, including the Void Legendary Champion Supreme Gallic in the game's biggest quality of life update ever. Fortunately for you, I have the best starting strategy that I wish I knew before I started, and I'd be happy to share that with you. To level your champions quickly, follow my lead and acquire the best starting champion, Kale, with his poison damage being busted in the early game. If only I knew this sooner. From there, farm the Dreadlands region for War Maiden. Combine her with Kale and High Katoon as your free 30-day reward once available. Invest in those and your new legendary champion Supreme Gallic to dominate the endless amount of content this game has to offer across the world of Teleria. So with you now being a raid expert, what are you waiting for? With my link in the description or QR code on screen, you will immediately get a huge anniversary starter pack worth $60, including the epic champion Zargala, plus enter special anniversary promo code Supreme6 to add Zargala's husband, the Void Legendary Champion Supreme Gallic, to your collection. Or new players can choose code MONKEYKING, GETALICE, or GETLOKI for alternative champions in Sun Wukong, Alice the Waiter, or Loki the Deceiver. Act quickly, as you will only have 48 hours to use the codes after following my link. Join my clan, SPAZZY Games, once online, and I will see you in there. Thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. The collection of lingering meads in Eider, Stamina, and Health are all a nice addition to any kit, with Lingering standing out for their passive buffs and extended durations. The Ashland Cloak arrives just a few places higher than the Ashen, mostly to align with my preferred playstyle of speed and agility. With the wind at your back, you are absolutely hustling, and the comprehensive 15% reduction in stamina usage is absolutely nutty. The stone portal is objectively better than the wooden alternative, but with it being restricted to such late game progression, it doesn't quite compare with its smaller counterpart, which I bet you will find quite high on my list. Tasty meads, in my opinion, are the most underrated in the game, and in my experience can save you in a pinch and are excellent supplementary items in boss fights, allowing you to expand your damage windows, which become fewer and further between in the later stages of the game. The Troll Endurance Mead, being my second favorite added in the Bog Witch update, lands on the list being the second most powerful weight-carrying item in the whole game. Bet you can't guess which is number one, despite it requiring you fish for its ingredients plus finding the elusive Bog Witch. Its 250 increased to carrying capacity is bonkers, and you can effectively make it permanent with sufficient coin and trollfish. And speaking of coins, the currency has managed to work its way off my most useless list into the most powerful with the introduction of the Bog Witch's new shop. With the powerful new mead ingredients found here, there is always a need for more gold, and we haven't even covered the game's most powerful mead found later on this list. 29 delivers the bonfire, which might surprise many who haven't tried using one as a weapon. Speedrunners can use these to overcome powerful creatures with limited gear, such as Lox, Abomination, and even bosses like Motor and Yagluth. Fire is a powerful weapon in Valheim, dealing massive damage as it stacks. The Battering Ram, like many items found here, rank on this list for doing things probably not intended by the developers. Sure, you're supposed to use these to knock down fortress gates, but have you ever tried farming copper with it instead? It's even more effective than the Troll Staff without the aftermath of a hostile Balrog. The Berserkir Mead is a crazy strong item in a Viking's toolset for those who like to risk it for the biscuit, offering a massive increase to your damage output at the expense of high vulnerability to damage. That said, combining it with Bowmaster's Forsaken Power completely nullifies the downside, making for an absolute busted combination. Next on the list of meads are the class of resistance in Barley Wine, Frost, and Poison, which must be on the list, with many of the biomes being damn near unbeatable without them. The Abyssal Razor gets special mention, being one of the most broken weapons in the game, having a damage output comparable to Iron Tier weapons, but craftable far sooner with, in theory, Meadows progression after acquiring the pickaxe and unlocking sea travel. The Bog Witch also provided the incredible serving tray, which makes this list by allowing players to craft feasts, new powerful foods that can feed an army with a buff outlasting regular foods by a wide margin. The feasts in the Mushrooms Galore a la Mistlands and the Ashlands Gourmet Bowl in particular stand out for being outstanding stat boosters. The Spear class in general I absolutely must call attention to, quickly having become my favorite class in the past year. Not only is the Flint Spear usable into the late game with its secondary attack, but has a faster attack speed and skill that levels faster than all others, making it stand above the rest. Thrones too mark the only furniture piece on the list, providing more comfort than any other with 3. Valheim veterans will be familiar with the power of the rested buff, and extending it for 3 minutes with a single piece of furniture is unmatched. Ooze and Bile Bombs are often slept on, but are incredibly handy with dealing with large groups of enemies for passive tick damage, like from raids, and can make dealing with dungeons a breeze. Without listing all of the Ashland weapons, with them obviously being the best, I had to highlight the lightning adding Iolite as the greatest gemstone the Ashlands has to offer. Not only is lightning strong, but what makes it truly stand out is the chain lightning, alleviating the stress of countering the vast number of enemies amongst the ash. Buckler shields too set themselves apart from all others with their 2.5 parry bonus, granting more block armor than the larger and slower tower shields once a Viking has mastered the parry timing. The Frostner has to be mentioned as maybe the most diverse and well-rounded weapon the game has to offer. Shockingly, in many ways its frost, spirit, and knockback dealing damage make it even viable in the Ashlands, a staggering 3 biomes after you acquire it. The Huntsman Bow easily surpasses the Finewood, and since my 2024 list, even booted the Finewood off altogether. Unlike the Fine, the Huntsman is far more reliable, always shooting in a straight line, and further has reduced hit and attack noise, making it excellent for dealing with foes without attracting attention. In many ways, it's the game's most well-rounded ranged weapon. I must give serpent meat and stew their flowers. Like many of the items the ocean offers, can provide a huge buff to the player in the early game should you be brave enough to take on the king of the sea. Their meat, and especially their stew, are powerful health foods, with the stew even rivaling Mistlands foods, despite it being retrievable as early as Black Forest game progression. Cracking the top 15 is the campfire, which has quickly become one of my favorite tools in speedrunning, allowing me to quickly dispatch the game's first 2 bosses, as well as tough foes like the Black Forest Brute. Not to mention, the fire effect being critical to the provision of the powerful rested buff. Without specifying an individual helm, its entire class of armor stands above the rest by providing a reduction in taken damage without a reduction in movement speed, unlike tunics and trousers. For this reason, I often pair heavy helmets with light armor to get the best of both worlds in damage reduction and speed. The next 2 on the list are the best Ashland weapons, starting with the Berserkier axes. The damage output of these is unmatched, especially for a player who's mastered parry timing. Combine these with the earlier Iolite for their thundering variant for unlimited power. For the sorcerers out there, only one staff exceeds this one on my list in the Staff of the Wild. While I personally find this one a little boring, its power cannot be questioned. Simply drop a few root and circle them while they distract and defeat your foes. You can summon as many of these as you want, assuming you have the Iter. It was almost a toss-up between 10 and 11, but with the 11th spot, I chose the Ask armor for its incredible reduction in stamina usage, with a nice bonus of increased pierce damage, working nicely with my fave weapon class of spears. And it could only be beat by my fave armor set taking the 10th spot in the Fenrir's armor. While this did drop a few spots, thanks to the introduction of a new item this year, I still can't get enough of the speed it provides. The longer I have played Valheim, the more I've learned the advantage of increased speed. You can't take damage if you're never hit. The second highest Forsaken power in my rankings is that offered by Bone Mass, yielding of course, massive damage reduction for its 5-minute duration. Yet, with so many elemental damage sources and long cooldown, there are better options out there. Next is the Hoe, which may surprise some folks, normally being reserved for terrain manipulation. Deceptively, it's one of the best defensive and utility tools the game offers. Raise earth below you for a quick height advantage, raise earth around your base, or even save your lost resources from shallow water. Easily one of the most versatile items on the list. The Feather Cape takes the highest cape position, but like the Fenrir's armor, has fallen quite a few spots since last year, having been nerfed and losing its increase to jump height. Despite this, I still struggle to take this thing off after acquiring it, saving a Viking from one of the game's biggest threats in fall damage. The Strength or Measuring Your Belt still remains one of the game's biggest quality of life benefiting items, but drops a few spots with the addition of the Mead of Troll Endurance covered previously. That said, its permanent plus 150 carrying capacity is hard to ignore. Cracking the top 5 and embarrassingly not included in my 2024 list is Eikthr's Forsaken power. For many years, I had considered Bowmass the best of the boss's powers, but have since grown wiser. Why have damage reduction when you can otherwise avoid damage altogether with a decrease in stamina usage? Speaking of damage reduction, perhaps the single best armor piece in the whole game is the Root Harness. This item speaks for itself, with so many of the game's enemies dealing pierce, with this item plainly neutralizing it. It's so strong that I find myself often taking it into the Mist and Ashlands, paired with barley wine of course. You could argue the addition of the anti-stink concoction being a slight nerf to this item, but I still just rock my root chest. The portal certainly deserves a spot in the top 3, taking much of the tedium out of Valheim, saving a few hours of travel. Better yet, you can enable the teleport of metals via your world settings as an even greater time saver. The portal is one of the game's most iconic items, and I'm very happy to include it in the top 3. The runner-up, new to Valheim and quickly becoming my favorite item, is the Tonic of Ratatosk. After finding the Bog Witch, boatloads of these can now be crafted for its 15% increase to your movement speed, not to mention 7.5% increase to swimming speed as well. Speed is king in Valheim, and considering its cheap cost, it's realistic to craft enough of these for a constant buff uptime. It represents for me now the best movement speed item in the game. Sorry, Fenris. That said, nothing can top the almighty Staff of Protection. This item effectively offers a second life, absorbing all incoming damage, and with sufficient iter, can be replenished the second it's broken. Plus, it not only protects you when summoned, but also nearby Vikings. To me, this item is untouchable at number 1. Before you go, don't forget to use my Raid Shadow Legends link in the description or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses for new players with an epic and legendary champion. And find out how dramatically my most powerful list has changed by watching my 2024 video right here.